There seems to be one absolutely critical and essential point of view in question which is left out of most health dialogues. That's because most health paradigms and strategies and solutions and techniques and beliefs are really based upon and founded within a really reductionistic, mechanical, linear, and honestly really outdated worldview. We want to be more empowered and take more responsibility and have more participation in our own lives and in our own personal healing and longevity quest, then obviously we're going to need to shift out of that and shift away from that. So then obviously, how do we start to do that? Now obviously, we're all human beings, we're all alive, so we all have issues, we all have things that we're working on and working through. And obviously the first step is to say, okay, well what can I do to get out of this? What things can I take? What things can I not take? What exercises and strategies and etc. can I then add in and apply to really make changes and make transformations and really just move out of this situation? Now, of course, that's the great first step. As I said, that's a great, beginning strategy. But obviously, it's not the whole picture because it's leaving out a huge chunk of who and what we are. So obviously, we want to include that and thus be more empowered and more participatory and more responsible in our own process and our own quest. How do we do that? So it's as simple as asking why. So when we're looking at a certain issue or a certain thing that we're trying to resolve or unwind, we just simply need to ask why. It's easy to get caught up in, oh, I have this thing, I've had this, it started when here, and then this is what happens, and this is what happens, and this is how it goes. Tell me what to do to fix myself. Okay, that's great, but let's take a step back and say, okay, why? Why is this happening? What things are happening in the psyche that are causing the body to manifest this particular symptom or this particular issue? Take a look at the mental, emotional, and spiritual levels and spiritual capabilities of ourselves and ask, where are we stuck? Where are we not moving? Where are we stagnated and fixated? What rigid conclusions and beliefs have we come to about ourselves, about the nature of reality, and about the people that surround us? And on top of that, what are we afraid of? What are we afraid to let go of? And what are we hanging on to that's really weighing us down and probably eating up and sucking up a lot of our mental energy and emotional energy? So it's important, again, to ask these questions and take this perspective and meditate upon these things because it is thus more empowering and thus helps us to be more responsible and more participatory in our own journey and in our own quest. But here's an illustration to understand how this works. Likewise, if we had our hand here and we're going to say, you know what, let's just throw a tourniquet right on here. And eventually what's going to happen is our hand is going to be robbed of nourishment and thus really cease to function and eventually just die and decay. Much in the same way that when we take on certain beliefs, certain mental patterns, certain neurological habits, parts of ourselves and our psyche are then cut off or have a tourniquet applied to them, which then robs them of their essential nourishment, and thus they eventually decay, degrade, and thus cease to function and cease to really allow us to express them. And if that still sounds weird, just take a look at yourself, take a good hard look in the mirror and say, hey, there's this part of myself which I can see, I know it's there, but I'm not really expressing, I'm not really bringing it forward. I wish I would, or I wish I could, or maybe, oh wait, I remember when I was X amount years old and I used to be like that, but then something happened, and why am I not expressing that anymore? That's what we're referring to here. So hopefully that's been helpful. I know there's a lot in there. So again, it's just a very simple question of why? Why is this happening? Sure, I've had X and Y for 12, 13, 14, however many years. Why? What's going on up here? What patterns, what behavioral patterns, psychological patterns are causing this and bringing this into being? Hopefully that's been helpful. If you have any questions or comments, post them below, and I'll talk to you soon.